When you go to these different places, in a way, do you feel like you're lying to yourself, kind of? Like, what do you like? Because when I think about that, I think, are you escaping something? Like when you go to these places and you can have these new identities and these new characters, like, is that what's going on? Like, break that down for me.
Maybe there are things here that I don't want to deal with. And I think that's valid. I think, travel is my form of escape. I think everyone has their form of escape. I genuinely do love to just experience new places and meet new people. Like that's a huge element to it. And I think when I travel and it puts me in a different environment, it gives me a different perspective on things that I go through. So yeah, technically it could be an escape, but I think it is therapeutic for me in a way. And I think it does help my mental health. So instead of spending thousands of dollars on a therapist, which I have done before, I found traveling more effective for me, because I think a huge part of rewiring your brain to heal from things or to get over things is to create a new reality for yourself. And I talk a lot about this on my podcast, where it's like you have to rewire your thoughts, and sometimes being in a new environment for me helps me do that and helps me get a fresh perspective on what I'm going through. So that's kind of why I love it so much. And also, even just being away now, like I went to Sydney for a couple of months, I met so many new friends and connections that I'll have now forever. So I think there's just a purpose and meaning in everything. And I feel like it only applies though if you're called to do it. Like if you're called to go somewhere specific. For me, I knew that I wanted to go to this specific place at this specific time, but I wouldn't just force a trip to force it, So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was something I was going to ask. Like, are you flying to these places because one, you might be dealing with something and you're like, okay, let me go here because I'm hurt right now. Or that's not, how people shop because there's a word for it that I can't think of right now on the spot. But when you, I do it, I eat when I'm feeling some type of way. I don't know the technical word for it, but the vice.
It's like a vice, like
yes.
When you're going through
something and you use other things to try to mask it. So to me, that's what it sounds like. It's like, oh, I'm traveling, but I could be wrong. You right here, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. Like I'm traveling to mask whatever I'm dealing with here, whether that be family issues or personal issues, relationship issues, or friends, like whatever is going through. Excuse me. Am I assessing that wrong, or what do you think?
I think everyone's different. Like I think who I am might be different than why someone else would travel and try to escape things. Like for me, I go when I feel called to go somewhere. I know it's a privilege, right? I know that it's a privilege to travel, but I even made it work when I was broke. Like when I first started traveling when I was 19, I had no money and I just made it work. I like sold some of my stuff and I was like, I need to go. So I just always wanted to. I don't think it's necessarily I don't want to say it's a vice or something where it's like bad to do, because I think there's been beauty in every trip that I've taken where I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. I spend my money on experience. People spend their money on clothes, shoes, food, whatever. Most of my money goes to experience. And that's, it's a little bit of everything. I think I have used it as a form of therapy too, or I'm like, I need to get out of here because I need to, like when I was going through my last relationship and it was really toxic, there were moments where I was like, I need to go book a trip because I need to get away from him. I need to get out of this bubble that I'm in with him because it's so unhealthy. And I've done that a couple of times. So.
Let's stop here. I love what Lyss is saying about having different identities in different countries. See, traveling to different countries and forming different identities can feel like a kind of freedom from your hometown. It allows you to explore new cultures, reinvent yourself, and leave behind the expectations and judgments of those who you know. This can be liberating and offer a fresh start. However, Constantly creating new identities can also be a way of running away from your decisions and avoiding facing your true self. By pretending to be somebody in different place, you might be lying to yourself and not addressing the real issues you carry. This constant reinvention can prevent you from finding genuine self-acceptance and stability. All right, let's get back to the show.